Venezuela, the country with the world's largest oil reserves, is in turmoil. The European Union has demanded elections there, and the US says all options are on the table, including military intervention. The global north says it's about democracy and freedoms, but is that really so? We talked to Jose Gregorio Bracho Reyes, Venezuela's ambassador to Turkey. Ambassador, the European Union is basically calling for immediate elections in Venezuela. The United States is saying that all options are on the table, including military intervention. How worried is your government?
This is not the option of the EU. This is an option planted by the administration of the United States. As I understand, the option that represents Europe is that which was expressed by EU's Foreign Affairs Chief, Federica Mogherini, who talks about things including creating a group of contacts for an engagement process. I think there are various approaches there. One is the warmonger approach, which the North American administration is used to. The hawks, Bolton, Trump, who follow a plan, what they call a manual for special forces and unconventional warfare, of which the last phase is the blatant recognition of the signs and later the recognition of a parallel government, like we're seeing in Venezuela.
The global north says this is about democracy and freedoms. Is that really so, or is there perhaps another agenda?
We're setting a very tragic standard, a pathetic and cynical precedent by recognizing a president who is not even known in Venezuela. We are talking about a guy who is serving imperialist interests and spreading mischief. We are recognizing a man who declared himself interim president, a self-declared president. We all know that if you are going to assume a very important duty, then you need to get voted by the people. Maduro has been re-elected president with 65% of the votes, more than 6 million votes. So where are the votes for the man who the European countries, USA, and the Lima Group insist to be the president? Interim president is a term that does not exist in the Constitution of Venezuela. You cannot talk about democracy when you neglect the basic rule of democracy. A president has to be voted in an election by people.
But you can't deny that there is an economic crisis in your country. Hundreds of thousands of people have been leaving the country. The opposition says it is being suppressed. What is the way forward then?
President Chavez offered a recovery project for the sovereignty of the resources, the construction of a great country, and they declared war on us. A diplomatic war and a media war. Beginning from the Chavez era, there has been a lot of pressure on Venezuela. Obama signed an executive order in 2015 which stated that if there was an unusual danger to the U.S., then it would militarily threaten and diplomatically press any country that poses a threat to its interests. There are reasons why the media starts twisting the arms of a state.
Looking at the bigger picture, the role of the international community has often been criticized. We've had the Turkish president, Recep Tayyip Erdogan, repeatedly call for a reform to the United Nations. Is the United Nations basically becoming another League of Nations? Is the Westphalian system collapsing?
President Erdogan and Chavez during his term pushed for the democratization of the United Nations, as Erdogan, Chavez, and Maduro have said many times that the destiny of the whole world should not be in the hands of 5 countries. A large part of the civilized world favors dialogue instead of belligerent confrontations and war. Clearly, the UN is in crisis if war is being promoted. These people do not respect international law and instigate wars.
The Turkish government says it is supporting your government out of its principled position of supporting democracy and the choice of people. But then we have countries that are perhaps opposing your government, feeling that they have economic interests at stake in opposing you. So is it the case that pragmatism is undermining democracy?
Nobody believes anymore in bringing democracy as an end in itself. The world does not believe in it. The world is going for oil. It is easier and faster to obtain oil in Venezuela, the largest oil reserve on earth, and probably the second largest gold reserve. There's a plan to destroy Latin America. There are countries that want to turn Venezuela into their backyard. Why do they inflict more blows on Venezuela? Because there was a project of Hugo Chavez in Venezuela. They are trying to annihilate Chavezism.
Y que representa